Welcome to Family Gamer TV and everything families need to know about Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. From what to watch out for to what players like, here is the ultimate 2-minute guide. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are remakes of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, which came out for the Game Boy Advance in 2003. Like the originals, they are different versions of the same game, with different Pokemon to collect in each, to encourage people to trade with friends via Wi-Fi and battle each other. Pokemon games are accessible role-play games that involve a similar story. You guide your character around the world and encounter Pokemon to either catch and then train or battle with your own Pokemon. You can also battle the Pokemon of other characters. The Pokemon games including these are developed by Game Freak. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are only available on 3DS. Each game costs £39.99 or $39.99 on the Nintendo eShop. The story for Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire could take around 40 hours to complete, so Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire will probably last even longer. Players who are particularly keen to collect all of the Pokemon and train them up could spend dozens if not hundreds of hours with the game. In the UK and Europe, PEGI rates the games only appropriate for those aged 7 and older, with a content descriptor for violence, that is, non-realistic looking violence towards fantasy characters, also pointing out that the games allow the player to interact with others online. The Games Rating Authority expands on its PEGI rating by describing the battles. The game presents two characters in a generic environment. The battle is turn-based and without physical contact between the characters. An attack, comprising an energy beam derived from the type of Pokemon being controlled, hurls towards the opponent, who suffers no injury at all other than a loss of health points. When this is depleted, the Pokemon is defeated. All of the Pokemon games focus on friendship and teamwork between the trainers and their Pokemon. Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire also touch on climate change, with the story about the villains trying to use the rare Pokemon to alter the climate and either raise or lower the sea levels. The Pokemon games are simple to grasp even by young children, but contain a lot of depth. There are more than 200 Pokemon to collect, and two Pokemon of one kind may not have the same stats. As you train your Pokemon, you get to choose how they develop, for example picking what moves they should have. Even after players have finished the story, there's always plenty to do, whether that's trying to catch them all or battling against friends. Each new version adds new Pokemon, new features, and a new world and story to discover. Thanks for watching our 2-minute guide to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Let us know what you think of the highs and lows of the game in the comments. If this is your first Family Gamer TV video, subscribe for more family guides, which we'll be bringing to you soon.